Hello folks, I want to take the opportunity to talk a little bit about backup power in our get home bags or in our bug out bags. With all the electronics that we're carrying around with us these days, from our cell phones to our GPSs to flashlights to headlamps, having renewable power source over a couple of days, if not a couple of weeks, becomes kind of critical. You notice that when I structure my get home bags, I structure them based on the distance and the number of days that I plan on it to take me. For a small get home bag where you can make it in one day, recommend that you take one of these little battery sticks with you. You can get at least one charge out of them for your phone. Most phones have a little light app on them as well as a GPS app, so that kind of fulfills all those things for you. When we start talking about a little bit longer distance, we have the Goal Zero Guide 10 Plus. This will get you a couple charges of your typical iPhone or Android phone. In the aspect of 2 is 1 and 1 is none, always carrying an extra set of AA batteries. When you're looking at stocking electronics in your get home bag or bug out bag, one of the things you want to try to do is standardize on a set of batteries, either AA's, AAA's, things that you can recharge. The Goal Zero does have an insert in it where it can charge AAA batteries as well, but then you have to choose, what am I going to charge? So generally I have a set of batteries in the device, a set of batteries that are spare, and then a set of batteries that are currently charging. Now let's talk a minute about the Goal Zero solar panels themselves, because they come in 3 different sizes. There is a 7 watt, a 13 watt, and a 20 watt. And the question is, what is right for me? Well, you need to understand some things first about how the solar panels are put together and what they do. All 3 of them will power this Goal Zero Guide 10 Plus and will charge those batteries up for you in about 2.5 hours. It does not matter the size of solar panel. All 3 of them are going to do it in about 2.5 hours. The reason is the port that they use is on the back of all 3 panels is regulated at 6.5 volts, 1.1 amps. The only advantage that the larger panels will give you is on a cloudy day, they may be able to stay at that 6.5, 1.1 more consistently than the smaller panel. But in perfect conditions, in identical conditions, they're all going to charge the Guide 10 Plus in the same amount of time. Also, when you look at the USB port that is on the back of the Goal Zeros, the first 2 panels, the 7 and the 13, it is a regulated USB port at 5 volts, 1.1 amps. So if you have an iPad, it will charge it, but it's going to charge it slow. The same goes for the Guide 10 Plus. The port on this, again, is 5 volts, 1.1 amps. Your iPad will recognize it, but it's going to charge slow, and you're not really going to get a full charge off of it. That's where the Nomad 20 is a little bit different. The USB port on the Nomad 20 is actually 2.1 amps, so it's going to be a lot more friendly towards your iPad, but that means you're going to have your iPad plugged into it. The other difference is when we talk about the 12 volt port. When we look at our 12 volt attachment that attaches to the back of them, that is a little bit different between all 3 of them. In the Goal Zero Nomad 7, it ranges up to 15 volts, but only at 0.3 amps. When we step up to the 13, it now starts to range from 14 volts to 22 volts, but again, the maximum amperage is 0.9 amps, which gets us back to 13 watts. Amps times volts equals watts. When you get up to the Nomad 20, that's where you get a little bit more juice, a little more bang for the buck. You're still ranging from 14 to 22 volts, but you have a 1.3 amp output. So you have some more power coming out to whatever devices you want. Now, again, this is only going to charge your phone maybe twice. It's not going to give you a full charge on your iPad. For that, you've got to step up to their Sherpa line for stored power. However, the Sherpa 50 only has a USB 1.1 amp. You have to go to the Sherpa 100 to get the 2.1 amp USB. One of the things that I tend to use that's in my kit if I'm going to go out for a longer time is I have a Brunton solar roll there. You can see it's quite a lot bigger than my Goal Zero, and I use a Tekion battery pack, and this battery pack there goes all the way up to 19 volts. It will give me a couple hours run on a laptop. It will also charge an iPad, but it is by no means as small as my Goal Zero. So normally I'm packing my Goal Zero as opposed to the Tekion. The other thing to be aware of is you may see some smaller solar panels that are out there, some smaller devices that have a battery built into them that appear to be great for charging your iPhone or other electronics. Be a little bit leery of those and check out the power of their solar panel versus their battery pack. Often when they tell you the charging time for a phone, you're actually charging off of the onboard battery when it's already full, as opposed to charging off of the solar panel. What I found when I look at the specs of some of those, it will charge your phone in 2.5 hours, but it takes it 5, 6, 8 hours to recharge that onboard battery, which is what was actually charging your iPhone. Now, I know in this video I've thrown a lot of technical information at you. For my 2 cents, I'm probably still going to be carrying my Goal Zero Nomad 7 with my Guide 10 Plus. I may think about upgrading to the Nomad 20, but that would only be if I was planning on carrying my iPad. So again, these are just my thoughts on renewable energy inside of your bug out bag or get home bag. 1 to 2 days, carry just the batteries and the power sticks. Longer distances, if you think it's going to take you 3, 4 a week to get home or to bug out to where you're going, then definitely recommend dragging or including a solar panel. So I imagine this video will generate a lot of suggestions and questions. As always, leave them in the comment section. Hopefully this video makes people think. I want to thank you all for watching, and as always, please subscribe.